immediately remove them from our menus. The two affected products were a meat lasagna and a beef burger. They will not be replaced until more testing has been undertaken, and we're fully reassured on the integrity of our products. They go on to say they're shocked and disappointed at the failure of the processed meat supply chain. As an industry, it's quite clear we need the supply chain to deliver products to the highest standards of food integrity and quality that we and our customers expect. And they say they would like to sincerely apologise to their customers for any concerns or inconvenience that this may cause. That's Whitbread. Now, more than 500 people have been injured as a large meteor exploded as it came through the atmosphere over the Ural Mountains in central Russia. Officials say the meteor caused damage in 6 cities, including Chelyabinsk, which felt the full impact of the sonic boom. It was a 50-metre asteroid, also expected to come close to the Earth at around... Sorry, a separate one, a 50-metre asteroid, is also expected to come close to the Earth at around 7:30 tonight. But we're assured that it will be at a safe distance. At NASA, who've been tracking the asteroid since its discovery a year ago, say there is no chance that it will hit the planet this time. Polina Zolotsarevskaya lives in the city of Chelyabinsk and witnessed the meteor shower.
I actually saw that some object flew across the sky, leaving a white and yellow stripe behind it, and then it kind of exploded. It was a fireball. Then everything was quiet, and in several seconds we heard a very, very loud kind of blast. And then there was evacuation declared, and we rushed out of the building, and we were staying there. And then there were different rumors, and nobody actually knew what happened. Some people thought that it was an air crash, so some plane just crashed. But then we learned that it was a meteor shower. And I know that not only windows actually broke, but also some window frames were pulled out by the explosion wave. And so some buildings were damaged so that they stopped working, for today at least.
Well, that's one of the people living in the city of Chelyabinsk, which was hit by this meteor. Anna Bakhareva lives in Yekaterinburg, which is about 270 miles away from there. And Dr. Nick Lister is the principal of Lawrence House Astronomy and Space Science Centre in Lancashire. If you haven't seen these pictures, I urge you to do so. Either watch BBC Television News or you can see them on the internet as well. They begin as a kind of a smoke trail of a plane is what they start to look like. And then they become illuminated, I'm presuming, by some kind of explosion, and then they look very much like a missile, and there's a glaring light right at the front of it, depending on the angle that you're looking at it. But really, it must have been extraordinarily frightening to witness. Anna, tell us what you saw from where you were.
Well, just a minor correction. Yekaterinburg is 230 kilometers away from Chelyabinsk, so a bit closer than what you said. And I saw, well, it was about 9:20 in the morning, and I was standing by the window in my kitchen and just watching my neighborhood, and I saw a flash of light. It was pretty amazing because at that time of the day, it was still quite dark outside. The sun hadn't yet risen, and I had no idea what it was. My first thought was that it was fireworks being set off. And in a couple of seconds, it was off, just like the light when you switch it off. And I couldn't hear, here in my place, I couldn't hear any bangs or any explosions. And the smoke trail that people mistook for the trail that planes leave could also be seen from Yekaterinburg. And many people thought it was actually a plane coming down. And later there were reports that a plane had crashed somewhere near Yekaterinburg, but later everything was refuted and news started coming in that it was a meteor.
And Nick, is it a coincidence that these two events are occurring on the same day?
Hello, good afternoon, Sheila.
Hiya.
Well, yes, it is a coincidence, to be honest with you. It's a remarkable coincidence because both these events are pretty rare, to be honest with you. They really are. And in all honesty, I've never heard of a meteor coming into the Earth's atmosphere and then detonating, exploding, and causing people harm, sort of directly, stroke indirectly from the shockwave. I've been reading about it. It's saying that a lot of the injuries, of course, are caused by glass shattering from the shockwave, so it's kind of almost indirect. But I've never heard of anybody, particularly, this amount of people being hurt or injured as the result of this kind of event. It's very shocking, actually.
And what are they made up of, these meteors? Is it essentially just the remnants of old planets?
Yes, in some ways it could be. They're often rocky. Most meteors or asteroids are made of rock or sort of metal ore or a combination of both. They vary in size greatly. I think this one was something like, several meters across? That's what people are predicting. What you need to realize is that the solar system is full of rock junk, to be honest with you. And every day, thousands and thousands and thousands of very, very tiny meteoroids enter the Earth's atmosphere. They will burn up with a streak of light. You can see them in the evening as a so-called shooting star, very, very pretty. But occasionally you'll get a bigger lump, something the size of a fist or a dining room table or even a few meters across. And what happens then is when they enter the Earth's atmosphere, they are burning up through time, through a fair few seconds. They create what's called a fireball. And at certain sort of height in the Earth's atmosphere, various pressure variations and things like this can make them detonate. And they will go off with this immense shockwave.
There's been a lot of thought given in astronomical circles, hasn't there, for the last 40 years or so, since it was established that the dinosaurs were probably wiped out by a very large version of this happening. To what end has that, has it come up with much, all that thinking, if you see what I mean, in terms of protecting us?
Yeah, of course, I understand. I mean, we know the Earth has been hit, not just once, but several times. The last time was the famous one that certainly was responsible. It was the last straw for the dinosaurs, let's put it that way. Everybody's heard about the dinosaurs being made extinct by an asteroid hitting the Earth. But we know that's happened more than once. And when you look at the law of averages, now I don't want anybody to go home and have nightmares now and things like this, but one really is overdue. We have to watch the skies because we have to try and protect ourselves from things like this happening. I think, to be honest with you, around the world now, scientists, astronomers, etc., are now eventually starting to get governments to listen and to say, look, we're getting towards the stage now where we need to think about, yes, spending a lot of money, but on ideas of trying to at least deflect any inbound chunk of rock that's coming our way.
And I was hearing one commentator on Five Live Breakfast this morning saying that one of the possible ways of protecting ourselves is to paint the asteroid when it's still in orbit, to make it heavier and make it go in a different direction.
Yeah, any way that you can develop that will deflect these objects is going to help, because it's a bit like if you're looking at a dartboard and the dartboard is 100 meters away, it's going to be quite a job for you to hit the dartboard, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you throw your dart and on the way that dart is just deflected by a single degree, it's going to miss the dartboard. And so the idea is that we can try and think of any way possible of deflecting these objects. I mean, a lot of people talk about ideas of sending missiles and hitting them. The problem with that might be that if you've got a very large rock heading our way that, yes, would damage us horrendously, if you hit it with a missile, you might fragment it into a dozen still very large pieces, and then you'd get peppered by 12 impacts across the surface of the Earth.
So unless you could really turn it into tiny dust, there's no point in doing that.
Exactly. That would be a very difficult thing to do. So we need to try and think of ways of protecting the Earth. It is a serious issue, I see. It really is.
Was I giving the impression I wasn't taking it seriously?
No, not in the least.
Good. I'm relieved to hear that, Nick.
I know in the past some governments have. I think they've almost laughed some scientists, away when scientists have been trying to broach these subjects. This may make a difference. What's happened today may make a difference. It might be one of those classic cases, those unfortunate classic cases where it needs somebody to get hurt until people will start to see the seriousness of it.
And perhaps learn from it too, learn scientifically from what's gone on there. Yeah, Nick,
yes,
it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Dr. Nick Lister, Principal of Lawrence House Astronomy and Space Science Centre in Lancashire. And we heard from Anna Bakhareva, who lives in Yekaterinburg in Russia. She saw the whole thing happen from a distance. Let me just tell you that 2 of the 3 people who died after an avalanche in the Scottish Highlands yesterday were RAF personnel, the Ministry of Defence has confirmed that just recently. Tony Bonsignore